Here now is Republican Congressman Chuck Edwards of North Carolina, member of the House Appropriations and House Budget Committees. Thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. All right, so let's get into this because RFK Jr. is facing a lot of backlash over his firing of CDC Director Susan Menarez, with Senator Schumer calling for his firing, and now Senator Bernie Sanders calling on him to resign, saying his plans are not what's best for the health of Americans. So do you think that we could see RFK Jr. end up stepping down? Certainly seems like he's here to stay, but how are you reading this?
Oh, I certainly believe he's here to stay. And we have to recognize that President Trump and the administration has the right to appoint who they want as secretaries and employ whoever they want to administer the policies that the American people elected him to do.
You know, President Trump is also not backing down. I got to get onto another subject here, not backing down from the threats to send in the National Guard and ICE officers into Chicago for this crime and immigration crackdown. So another huge story that we're following. Chicago already taking steps to push back. And then reading, you know, we had Mills Hayes on a minute ago talking about how people are saying that, you know, agreeing with President Trump that Chicago has become a killing field. That's a quote. So, you know, is this a dangerous escalation with tensions with Democratic leaders sending in the Guard? So many people wondering if this is the right move. Do you think it is?
I think what President Trump is showing is the American people that there is a real crime problem in some of our major cities in America, and that there are things that we can do about it, given the political will. Even the mayor in Washington, D.C. right now is admitting that the actions there, the National Guard presence, is making a real difference. Any police department that you talk to will tell you that the single biggest thing to deter crime would be uniforms on the streets. That's what we see working right now. And while it may not be a long-term sustainable problem or solution, what President Trump is doing right now is showing the American people that political will can and will make a difference.
Okay. Also on Tuesday, we were talking to Tom Dempsey about this. Congress heads back to work on Capitol Hill with a September 30th funding deadline at the top of the list. So that's a big issue. Top Democrats are already calling on Republicans to work together on what they're calling this, you know, looming health care crisis. What do you think? Do you expect to see more bipartisanship this session? Do you think that that's going to all work out?
Well, I would certainly hope that the Democrats would come aboard and help us continue funding the federal government in a way that improves our fiscal health. I've got full confidence that given a couple of the different options that we have before us, that we'll continue to fund the government. I just hope we could get the bipartisan support to do that in a more fiscally responsible manner.
You know, Republicans, we see, have been spending the summer touting President Trump's big, beautiful bill, from extending tax breaks to boosting national security. We've talked a lot about that over the last few months, while Democrats do argue that the bill includes huge cuts to health benefits, and that is a big problem for the Dems. Polling in your state found that nearly 36% of voters believe this bill will have a negative impact on their lives. So what do you say to them? And I'm wondering just what you're hearing back from people that you talk to on the daily on that.
I believe that Americans, by and large, agree with the components of H.R. 1. That bill is not necessarily President Trump, nor is it Congress's bill. That bill achieves the demands of the American people last November to run a more efficient government, to close our border, to reduce the costs of energy, and to help improve the American way of life. And we've certainly accomplished those things in that bill.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys are going to have a busy session, that's for sure. I also wanted to get your take on the federal judge that is temporarily blocking the Trump administration from deporting 10 unaccompanied migrant children. And that was just hours before they were set to head back to Guatemala. Then you got the emergency hearing that's scheduled for later today over the legality of the deportations, with lawyers arguing the children have right to due process. So where is the solution in all of this? How do you see the case playing out?
Well, I think that Americans, including President Trump, believes that everyone is entitled to due process. Where the differences seem to come into play is exactly under what circumstances uh, and what does that due process look like? It could be materially different from someone, for example, that's on the terrorist list than it could be for a family that's been living here for a number of years. And unfortunately, we see judges come in and work to implement their political will over
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately, I believe that President Trump's policies will prevail.
All right. Well, we'll watch it play out together. North Carolina Congressman Chuck Edwards, thank you very much for joining us today on your Sunday. We appreciate it.